Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm FlynnMasters, and today I'll be ranking every chef of season 4 from my least to favorite. And yeah, this is gonna be a very interesting one because there's a ton of chefs this season who are memorable, but even the people in the upper half of my list certainly have their flaws for sure. So this is gonna be a fun ranking. And yeah, let's get to it. My least favorite chef, and let's just get out of the way right now. It's obviously Jason. And yeah, no reason to really even talk about this man anymore at this point. Awful human being, terrible chef. So let's just move on. Now on to number 14, and onto someone who somehow, some way comes close to matching Jason in terms of awfulness this season, with that being Jen. And again, just awful from beginning to end. Like her blaming Corey of all people at the first challenge, despite her doing the best on the red team, only to then work with Corey to take out Christina for being a threat. She constantly made fun of her teammates and got mad at her teammates for no reason, showed attitude to Ramsay at times, which really reared its ugly head, 14 seasons later. Her entire on the blue team was just awful, and the fact that she got a black jacket over Luros, oh my god, let's just move on. At number 13, I have Sharon, and it's kind of a double whammy for her, as not only is she pretty forgettable, but she was an awful chef to boot. But the cherry on top for me is that she seemed very lackadaisical in the kitchen. Like, if you're gonna be bad, at least show a bit of heart and, show that you care that you're screwing up, but you just get nothing from Sharon. Like, no wonder why Ramsay was hard on her. So yeah, I mean, Sharon's literally the definition of adding nothing to the show, which is why she lands here at number 13. I thought about putting this person higher, but at number 12, I do have the first boot and Dominic. And I mean, he's a very sweet guy. Probably should have survived that first round over Jason. But there's just not enough substance for me to put him much higher than 12, despite a lot of the chefs above him bringing some negativity to the season. At number 11 is someone who on paper is forgettable and was even my choice for most forgettable chef of the season. But there's one moment I totally forgot about her that made me feel a lot more mad about her, with that being Shayna. And the thing is, she was the one responsible for burning Vanessa's hand, but then had the audacity to question her for her toughness when she quit. Like, that left a really bad taste in my mouth. So when she's that forgettable and has like that one awful standout moment, like I have to put her pretty low. At number 10 is Chef Craig, also kind of forgettable. I mean, he had like his moments, although they weren't very good moments in his case. Even if it was funny for the people watching at home, obviously him having the audacity to bring that big old chef hat on the first episode, and of course his "I don't know" percentages quote. That is pretty funny, but he was pretty nasty at times. Not a very good chef. So I don't know. It's just he's just kind of there, but like I guess him kind of being a donkey makes him puts him high enough, I guess. I mentioned her earlier, but at number 9 is Vanessa. And again, she doesn't add much to the season, I get, but like she did get off to a tough start after looking like a favorite to win early on, tanking as a leader on opening night, and then getting nominated in episode 3 after a bad service. However, it did seem like she could have had a potential underdog run, as she definitely had talent for sure, but unfortunately burnt her hand and would go down as the first chef to ever voluntarily leave Hell's Kitchen. So at least that's something. So again, I thought about putting her higher, but again, just too much of a nothing figure this season, despite her having her good moments and memorable moments. But just kind of a decent character, but only was in 4.5 episodes, so I just can't have her too much higher. So these next 3 spots may be a bit controversial, as I know a lot of people don't like them at all, but to me, they at least add a lot to the season, with the first one to talk about being Roseanne. And I know some people think she was a loudmouth and, talking about her daughter was annoying, but I don't know. Like, for me personally, she never really rubbed me the wrong way whatsoever. I respected her fight back and passion. So, to me, she's not like super good or anything, but also not super bad. And also not super forgettable either. So I think she's pretty much a perfect middle spot here at number 8 in the season 4 ranking. On to number 7 now. And if this was a real life ranking, Ben might even be below Jason, but I do think he adds a ton to the season, if not to Hell's Kitchen as a whole. As yeah, he's not a likable character by any means, but he's of course a chef that Ramsay was one of the most hardest on, with only Ben the following season probably being the chef Ramsay hated more. That of course made for some great moments. And in general, say what you will about his rivalry with Matt, but that also made for an epic episode this season. And again, Ben's downfall episode with just how brutal Ramsay was to him the entire time while Matt did amazing on the red team. Oh, again, one of the best episodes in Hell's Kitchen history. So again, Ben is an awful person for sure, and he wasn't exactly sunshine and rainbows this season personality-wise, but I cannot deny the impact he had on this legendary season. And the next person on the list amplifies that point even more, with that being Matt. Again, I know he could act extremely weird and for that matter vile at times, especially during his downfall episode. He had a very punchable face for sure. It's easy to hate the guy. But like, come on, even if it's not for the best of reasons, he adds so much to the season. I mean, literally right away, he made freaking Ramsay throw up with his all-time bad signature dish. Again, like I said, his rivalry with Ben was iconic to the point where, you wanted to root for Matt of all things in this instance. And while it is pathetic here in the Black Jacket, again, it led them to get absolutely destroyed by Ramsay. Say what you will about that Black Jacket episode, but it was hilarious just to kind of see him almost go crazy in a way. So, again, Matt is more so a locale as opposed to a likable chef for sure. But again, he does add a ton to this season, and even if he's not the most pleasant man in the world. On to one of the more ambiguous chefs in Hell's Kitchen history, with that being Corey. And we all know the story with her, just a complete villain early on, trying to play dirty like Michael Ray, but was a lot more bitchy about it for sure. But she definitely turned it around as the season went on, trying to fight through a burnt hand at the Black Jacket service, nominating herself for elimination to get rid of Jen, and had a pretty good run for sure throughout the season, with her relationship with Christina being one of the more interesting dynamics in Hell's Kitchen history. So I generally like Corey more than I dislike her. I just simply like the other 4 chefs above her a bit more. On to number 4, and it is the winner of the season in Christina. And I've said it many times, I don't think Christina's a great winner, but you gotta respect her determination despite her lack of experience and her up and down run, which included having to deal with, again, both Corey and Jen ganging up on her at times, only to turn that around and actually have Corey respect her by the end of the competition. Like, that was really cool. And just goes to show the type of person Christina is. So while I don't like the fact that she won this season, she is a great character for sure, who kept a positive attitude despite everything. And for that, I respect her absolutely. I respect her so much. The top 3 now are the big 3 in the Blue Kitchen, all very likable men, and it's just a matter of orienting them. And at number 3 is Lou Ross, and just a complete spark plug in the kitchen, and a pretty damn good chef as well. I see a lot of myself in him, always being ready to go no matter the circumstances. And that's a very, very hard attitude, I'm sure, to keep in Hell's Kitchen. And the fact that he didn't get a Black Jacket, but Matt and Jen did, is insane. So yeah, really nothing bad to say about Lou Ross. Probably one of my all-time favorite non-Black Jacket chefs. My second favorite chef of season 4 is Bobby, and very similar to the likes of Aaron, Jimmy, and Keith before him. He's the classic gentle giant archetype that I love, but Bobby takes it to a whole nother level. I mean, this guy is a freaking general and calls himself as a leader early on, which turns the whole team against him after his awful performance, only for him to, be great in the kitchen all season long after that, and super supportive of his teammates, with of course the highlight being him saving Petrosa from quitting, literally making the season 10 times better from that act of kindness alone. So again, an all-time beloved chef, and he would literally be most people's favorite chef, including mine, on pretty much every other season. But at number 1 is obviously Petrosa, and what's left for me to say about him at this point, that I haven't said a million times. Just an absolute gentle soul who, despite being so kind-hearted, was an absolute beast in the kitchen. Like, who can forget him literally getting a dish past sous chef Scott? Just, he dominated all season, one of the best chefs to never win, is one of my favorite chefs of all time, easily my favorite chef of season 4. So there you have it, guys, my ranking of every season 4 contestant, which again was a very interesting list to make. Like, I did not see this as my ranking when I went into this. So please let me know what you think of these chefs in the comments below, and be sure to hit that subscribe and like button to support this series. And with all that said, take care everyone, and I'll see you next time.